UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm joined by Tyson Fury's trainer Ben Davison. How you doing, Ben?
All good yourself?
Yeah, very good. Just looking forward to the big man's return Saturday.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming.
Obviously, there's been a lot said on Twitter saying sort of Seferi, who's this Albanian cruiserweight, blah blah blah. Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, listen, like we say, it's been a long time coming. Everybody knows where Tyson's come from. A man with 21 knockouts on his record can't be overlooked. His one loss is to Manuel Charan, who's got the WBA World Heavyweight title, who went to points with him. So it's a good marker to see where Tyson's at. It looks like he's drawable, so hopefully we should get some rounds.
Yeah. Has there been anything discussed how many times Tyson will get out this year, how many times he'll face this sort of opponent?
We'll assess the opponents and look at those sorts of things after each fight. We're hoping to get 3, maybe four fights in this year. But as to opponents, etc., we'll have to assess it after each fight and see where he's at. Also see where he's at after each camp and see how his body's handling, recovering, etc.
4 seems quite a lot, considering what it's June now.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, is that realistic?
Well, we may be able to get him out on a show. We've got a plan in place. Definitely 3. We might be able to get 4.
Okay.
Can't say too much.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot going on in the heavyweight division. Talks of Joshua Wilder, Joshua Povetkin, etc. Dillian White's obviously in the mix. Who do you see sort of as the top boy? If you take Tyson out of it, who do you see as the top boy at the moment?
Well, it's clear Joshua and Wilder are the 2 top boys. Who's the best out of that? They've obviously done exceptionally well, the pair of them. So a fight between them 2 is interesting. The reason the Joshua fight keeps getting brought up for Tyson and why Tyson talks about how it would be so easy with Joshua is Joshua is tailor-made for Tyson. His style just suits Tyson to the ground in every aspect, it's not to say that Anthony Joshua isn't able to beat Deontay Wilder, because styles make fights. I'd like to see that fight. It's an interesting one. They've both got different strengths and different weaknesses. They've both got big punching power. So I'd like to see it be an interesting one.
A lot of people sort of say AJ's win over Vlad was better than Fury's, and obviously you do have people arguing, well, Fury wasn't on his back, and he sort of made it look easy. What do you make of all that?
Well, Anthony Joshua was on the verge of being defeated in that fight. At no point was Tyson on the verge of being defeated by Vladimir. It was a more entertaining fight. Obviously, it was a fantastic fight. Fight of the year, I think it won. It was a great fight. But in terms of being a trainer, you'd be more happy with your fighter winning without being on the verge of defeat. He didn't take much punishment. But then again, like you say, Joshua likes to be exciting. It was certainly an exciting fight. So they're both, I bet they're both happy with their performances, and they've done a good job. Listen, beating Vladimir Klitschko is you're not doing too bad, are you?
Okay, let's move away from the Joshuas and Wilders for a second, and let's talk about Tony Bellew. He's been very vocal in wanting a fight with Tyson at the end of this year. Yeah, your sort of comment on that?
I like Tony, and Tony's a very good fighter. Tony's key asset is very good same time punching. But if you take that away, how does he beat Tyson? If he can't close that distance, which if Tyson didn't want him to, he could not close the distance on Tyson. That's a fact. If Tyson did not want him to, he would not be able to close the distance. I understand what he's saying about, once Tyson gets back into form, more so once his weight hits his peak weight and Tyson can use his feet and keep moving, and which he can still do now, but in Tony's mind, that's what he's thinking. But then again, let's say it turns into a fight, they're toe to toe, Tyson's leaning on him, holding on him, throwing him. Tyson's way too big for him, way too big for him. And talking about speed, when Tyson wants, he, as you see yesterday at the media workout, he's very, very fast, and until you get in there, people don't realise, and his timing's exceptional.
Why do you think Tony sort of says that he rules out fighting Joshua and Wilder because they're too big, but then Fury's bigger than both of them? So, yeah, that really doesn't make sense. Or
because what in Tony's mind is thinking, okay, if he wanted to go into survival mode, he could get through the fight. This is in Tony's mind. He could get through the fight, not get hurt. It's a big fight, well paid. He's coming to the end of his career. But if you underestimate Tyson's power, it's the biggest mistake you can make, because he can seriously punch. Look at the pressure that Vladimir put on David Haye. David Haye's supposedly a big puncher. He couldn't put that pressure on Tyson. He wouldn't want to take risks with Tyson. He didn't let his hands go as much as he did against David Haye. Why? Because he knew if he missed and got caught, it would be game over, because Tyson can really punch, and people really underestimate that. But Tony's a good fighter, he is a good fighter, and he's a nice fella.
obviously for this year, Tyson isn't going to be in them marquee sort of big fights. But do you think at this stage, as his trainer, he's actually physically ready? Say if there was a fight in September with one of the top boys in the division, is he ready to get in there now and do the work, do the business?
Do you know what? It's because of his exceptional boxing brain. He could get in with anybody at any time, and anybody that's been in the gym with him will explain that to you. He can actually do that. As to him being at his peak, where I would like him, not talking about him being ready for certain fights, because like I say, he can jump in with anybody at any time because of his boxing brain and his freakish physical attributes. But for him to be in his physical peak where I would like him, I'd like probably 2 more fights.
2 more fights.
2 camps.
Yeah.
At the end of 2 more camps, I feel like he'll be in his absolute physical peak.
Okay, let's talk about Billy Joe. I know Team Fury's very close with Billy Joe. Obviously, we've seen him pull out this fight against Mark Murray. Talks of the Golovkin fight. How do you rate Billy's chances if he stepped in with Triple G?
It's the same thing. The same thing as the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury thing. Golovkin style suits Billy Joe down to the ground. I think that people see when Canelo boxed Golovkin that the movement that Canelo had and the rhythm and the timing caused Golovkin a lot of problems. Now, I don't think I'm the only one to say that it's clear to see that Billy Joe's got better movement than Canelo. He's a better back-foot boxer than Canelo. And it's the same thing, Billy Joe can punch a lot harder than what people think. Why that you see him shake up David Lemieux a couple of times, you know? And people make the same mistakes, but because they don't stand there, hold their feet and look to unload on people and take that 50-50 chance of shipping one back, people underestimate. But when they need to, they can certainly let people know they're there.
If he can replicate that performance here against Lemieux, do you think he beats everyone in there?
It raises his game again. I've known Billy Joe and worked with Billy Joe for a long time, and the bigger the challenge you put in front of him, the further he raises his game. Billy Joe doesn't know how good he can be.
Yeah.
Because he's never been put under that test. David Lemieux was a test, and look where he rose it to. Now a bigger test, he'll raise again, 100% he will.
Do you think that's the same with Tyson? That the bigger the test, the better that sort of comes out of him?
1,000,000%. You get the best out of him when you can bring those little bit of nerves and those butterflies around and make him think, okay, I have to be switched on here. With Klitschko, it was a good performance, but I feel like that was about 60% of what Tyson can do. And to be honest, when I watched the fight, I knew, I could just see that he just looked like he wasn't 100%. And now, having spent a training camp with him, I can see the little things that he can do when he's 100% were missing there, and I feel like he would stop Vladimir this time if they was to box again. Yeah,
do you sort of think that people overlook Tyson's sort of punching power?
100%. Anybody that then gets in the ring with him understands, and then they go, oh, he's very, very heavy-handed. That's why nobody's walked him down, nobody's done this, nobody's done that. You know, you can't, if somebody will walk you down if you can't punch and you're boxing on the back foot. You need to have something to make him think about closing that gap up. And Tyson's definitely got that answer, definitely.
So, obviously you linked up with him out in Marbella. Did it hit you straight away in sort of the first training session that, yeah, he's going to get back to his best, or did it take a bit of time?
No, to be honest. No, I knew that everything was still there. Like, I remember getting in the ring the first time, and we both started laughing. A smile on his face. I've said it a few times. I could see the love for the sport was like no other. The boxing itself, the business side of boxing can be very, very ugly, And you know, the public don't get to see that, and it can be a lot of stress for fighters. And there's so many hurdles to overcome for every fighter, even active fighters. You know, active fighters. Let's say the average fighter has to lose 1.5 stones leading into a fight. That's a hurdle to overcome. Mental hurdles to overcome. Schedules and etc. Business and some fighters have tickets, etc. There's so many things that fighters have to overcome. But when you look at what Tyson's had to overcome from there to now, there's 5 times the amount of hurdles. Then let's look at what the hurdles are. Like I say, some fighters might have 1.5 stones. Tyson's had to lose over 7 stone, 4 or 5 times more. So the hurdles have been 10 times bigger, 10 times more. And the fact that he's done it has been, you know, a real inspiration. You know, it's and he's done it with a smile on his face. There's been ups and downs, don't get me wrong, there's been some hard times, and I put my whole life on hold for 6 months to get to where we are and help him get prepared for Saturday and really get the ball rolling. It's been a long, hard journey, but enjoyable as well.
Okay, Ben, I think we'll end on that note. Thanks for talking to us today. I'm sure we'll catch up with you Saturday post-fight, but thanks for talking to IFL.
No problem, mate.